Most people don't realize that a lot of their reality is based on beliefs that they never questioned. How much of what you believe is actually true? Growing up, I observed my dad, and I noticed about him that whenever he would hear something, that became his opinion. You know, if he would listen to the news and he would hear something that he agreed with, well, that was his opinion. But then he would hear the other side and it's like, yeah, that's my opinion. And so I decided I'm going to become a critical thinker, and I'm going to decide for myself what my opinion is. And that is how I just navigate through life. Even when I read books, when I read something, I don't take that as truth. I question it. I'm like, okay, but what do I think of this? Is this my opinion? For example, I once read this book from a friend. He made a bold statement saying, if you love yourself, then, you know, you eat healthy and you exercise and yada, yada, yada. And then I was like, well, I love myself. And sometimes I honestly just, because I love myself, want to eat fries, and I don't want to restrict myself on what I eat. Actually, that is my self-love. It's like, Ash, you get to eat whatever you want, period. The thing is, we take on beliefs without questioning them, and then they become our reality. I was sharing the story about Dell the other day. I used to work for Dell early in my 20s, and I described this moment with my back then manager, who wasn't all too impressed by me. He was giving me a lecture about how we get to shape perception, and that the way I was moving in my role, the way I was sitting, the way I was talking, everything showed him that I was just not giving it all my best. He triggered everything inside of me, and it actually made me the best performing rep. Not just for a moment, but it became my standard. What I didn't share is the things that I did to get there. And that's what today is about. Because when he triggered me, I had to also see that there was some truth in it. I had this limiting belief. And the limiting belief that I had was, I had around 30 clients, and my targets were over 1 million. So spread out in the year, I would have over 4 million target, and then every quarter I would hit like 1.5 million to reach that end goal. There was a part of me that just couldn't believe that with my 30 clients, I could hit that. And the thing is, every time you would have a bigger target, because if you would close your target, like that 1+ million every quarter, if you would close that, then that means that your account base becomes more valuable. And so next year, you know, you need to do 5% more, or you get the drill. So I just had this limiting belief, like, this is impossible, I can't. And so I settled for average, because I couldn't believe that it was possible for me to hit that target. And then I had to question that. I was like, well, it is possible. And so if I don't believe that, I have to create the beliefs that makes me believe that. I had a huge commute to get to work. I was living in a different city, close to The Hague. And every day it took me 1.5 hours to get to the office in Amsterdam at Dell. And I started at 8:30, so I had to wake up early to get there, right? And I use everything. Like, I use the train, I use the bike, and I walked to get from A to B. Why do I share this? Well, I use that disadvantage in my advantage. I created my own dedicated notebook where I would write all kinds of new affirmations that would help me open up to a new belief system where I was very much capable of not just hitting my target, but anything. I was programming my limitless mindset. And what I did as well, and we're talking like 15 years ago, right? I created a mind movie. I had a MacBook back then, or an iMac, I should say, and I had iMovie, and I used that to create my first mind movie clip. And at Dell, we had something very specific. Every time we would close a deal that was over 50,000, we get to gong. And the gong, for me, stood for that persona who would just over exceed her target every freaking quarter. And so what I did was I created a movie where I was gonging, like, constantly. And I know for a fact, honestly, that that's how I drew all kinds of opportunities. Even if I had 30 accounts in my account base, 30 clients that I served, even though I still managed every time to hit my freaking targets, because I wasn't thinking of a specific client or a specific deal. I was thinking of the overall success and who I got to be, and everything just came to me. And I was using my 45-minute commute in the train to get in the zone. Headset on and just watching my clip, reading my notes, completely brainwashing myself. This is not just a Dell story, you know? This is a story about you too. Because most people accept, well, the economy is just bad, you know? Or it's summertime, people don't buy during summer. Or I don't have time, I'm a single mom. I'm already overloaded, you know, with everything. These are all beliefs that may be true for the collective and may be understandable, but they're still keeping you small. They're keeping you average. They are limiting you. Your personal reality doesn't have to follow the collective one. Even I am questioning myself still to this day, daily. I see my own limitations all the freaking time. For example, of being the single mom and already doing so much, now I'm like, I need to create more workflows. I need to use more of AI to help me with the back end of my business. Whatever I'm not doing is believing those lies anymore. Because beliefs, they become your ceiling. And if you don't question them, you will live inside of them. The moment you see that it's just a belief, it's not a fact, that's the moment you get your power back, and then you can take the action that is needed. It was so important to at least question yourself. Like, is this true? Is this true for me? Do I still want this to be true? Don't just accept things as they are. Question it. Question your own mind. Question what people say. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in tomorrow's episode.